Good day everyone and welcome to Learn English with Blaine, and this video is your introduction to the past continuous, and this is video number 1. This is only an introduction because I'm going to be making some more videos based on this topic in the very near future. Okay, so in this video, first of all, we're going to look at the formations, how to form this verb tense. We're going to talk about positive statements, negative statements, interrogatives, meaning questions, and then we're going to talk about the 4 uses of the past continuous. So again, we're going to begin first with formations, and then we'll talk about the 4 uses of the past continuous. Just a note, I will leave the link to my website in the video description of this video. You will find another explanation there in addition to more exercises, and I will be adding more and more exercises there every month. And if you have any questions about that, you can also leave those questions in the comment section of this video as well. Now, just a moment about the past continuous. So the past continuous is a verb tense that is used to refer to an ongoing action that was happening at a moment of interruption. So I'm going to say that once more. The past continuous is a verb tense that is used to refer to an ongoing action that was happening at a moment of interruption. Now, when we talk about an ongoing action, we are talking about an action that takes some time to complete. Some actions are very, very quick. Other actions can be it could be an action that could take a long time. For example, studying for an exam, driving a long distance, exercising. These are what we can call ongoing actions. The ongoing action could be interrupted by time or by another action, and we'll be talking about that in just a moment as well. But first, let's take a look at the formations. So when you are forming statements in the past continuous with the past continuous verb, there's going to be several parts. So first of all, we're going to have a subject. We're going to have a form of to be that's going to be in the simple past. And then we are going to need a present participle. So let's take a look at these. I was working. You were studying. He was cleaning. She was running. It was eating. We were driving. They were playing. You were reading. Okay, so this is how we are going to use the to be, and again, it's going to be in the simple past. Now, when we are talking about the present participle, we are really just talking about the verb with the ing. So every verb is going to be formed in the same way with this verb tense. It's always going to end with the ing. Okay, so this is how we are going to form statements. Remember, we have the subject first, then a form of to be, and then the verb. It's going to be the past participle form of the verb. That's forming statements. Now, when it comes to forming negative statements, it's very similar. We're going to have a subject, to be, and then we're going to have to be in the simple past. And then between the verb to be and the present participle, we are going to have not in there to make it negative. So we will say, I was not working. You were not studying. He was not cleaning. And you know what? I'm just going to, there should be a period right there, so I'm just going to fix that. These are sentences, right? So there should be a period at the end. He was not cleaning. She was not running. It was not eating. We were not driving. they were not playing, and you were not reading. Okay, so this is how we are going to use make a negative statement using the past continuous. Okay, now let's take one more step further and let's talk about forming questions. So when we are forming questions, we are going to, just to go back here for a moment, when we're making statements, we have the subject and then to be and then the present participle. We are simply going to flip these. So instead of saying I was working, you are going to say was I working? Instead of saying you were studying, you were going to say were you studying? So it's going to look like this. Again, was I working? Were you studying? Was he cleaning? Was she running? Was it eating? Were we driving? Were they playing? And finally, were you reading? So again, we're going to have to be in the simple past, and then the subject. So we have simple past form of the verb to be, subject, and then the present participle of the verb. And that's how we form questions. Now let's go on and let's talk about the 4 uses of this verb. So use number 1 is past action interrupted by time. A past action interrupted by time. Okay. I was running at this time yesterday. The children were watching a movie last Sunday afternoon. She was doing her chores at 6 p.m. Mr. Johnson was knocking at the door at around 9 a.m. this morning. We were shopping this afternoon. I think we were still traveling at 3 a.m. Last Monday at this time, we were sitting on the beach. Okay, so what this means when we say, I'm just going to go back here. When we say a past action interrupted by time, what that really means is that at this time, we were doing this action. So let's say, for example, let's say it's 12 noon on a Monday, right? It's like saying 12 noon on Monday. That means at 12 noon on Sunday, you were in the process of running. So I was running at this time yesterday. So at this time, at whatever time it is today, at that time the previous day, you were running at that time. You were in the process of running. Let's take a look at this one. She was doing her chores at 6 p.m. So that means at this time, she was doing her chores. Okay, so it's 6 o'clock. Let's say now it's 8 o'clock, and you're going back in time, right? Because this is a past action. So right now it's 8 o'clock, and that means at 6 o'clock, this person was doing her chores. So different time expressions that we can use are at this time yesterday, last Sunday afternoon, at 6 p.m., at around 9 a.m. this morning, this afternoon, at 3 a.m., and again, last Monday at this time. So these are different time expressions that we can use with the past continuous. I am going to be making a video exactly about this use, and we will go into more detail. This video is just to give you a rough understanding, and then I'm going to make more videos going into more detail about these. And again, though, in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can write your questions in the comment section of this video. Okay, use number 2 is coming up. Past action interrupted by another past action. So here we're going to talk about the past continuous to refer to a past action interrupted by another past action. Okay, so I was washing the dishes when she entered the room. I was washing the dishes when she entered the room. My parents were talking when the phone rang. The children were playing with the puppy when it ran under the bed. Tom and his wife were cleaning their yard when it started to rain. We were driving home when a car hit us from behind. My friends were just starting to play cards when I left for work. I was making dinner when they began to clean the basement. Okay, so one thing we want to notice about this is that here we have two different actions, two different verbs. Both of these are in the past. Now, what it means is that you were doing something when another action started. You were doing something when another action started. So let's take a look at this example. I was washing the dishes. So in other words, you were doing this action. So I was doing this action. I was washing the dishes. And then while I was in the process, she entered the room. So I'm washing dishes, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes. And then at that moment, this lady or this girl entered the room. So notice that we've got two verbs. We've got I was washing, so this is past continuous. The other verb, the one that happened second, is going to take the simple past. So here we've got past continuous, simple past. Past continuous, simple past. Past continuous, simple past. So we've got I was washing, and then we have entered. My parents were talking. The phone rang. The children were playing. It ran under the bed. Tom and his wife were cleaning. It started to rain. We were driving. A car hit us from behind. My friends were just starting. I left for work. I was making dinner. They began to clean the basement. So in other words, in each of these examples, we are talking about an ongoing past action, and then another action happened in that moment when I was in the process of doing that action. So the subject, whatever the subject was, they were doing some action, and then another action started. So this use is when we talk about, let me go back, a past action in progress interrupted by another past action. You know what? I'm just going to make a note of that. Past action in progress. So that means that you were doing that action, and then another action came along and kind of interrupted that action. Okay, so let's move along to use number 3. Now, in this case, we can talk about two past actions happening at the same time in the past. So two actions happening at the same time in the past. We'll look at some examples. Okay. I was washing the dishes while Tommy was drying them. While Mr. Jones was working outside, his children were inside watching a movie. My brother was working out at the local gym while I was running in the park. And here's a question. were you listening while she was speaking or not? What were you doing while your sister was studying? So here we have two question statements, two question examples. I am not sure, but I think she was living in Ontario while I was living in Manitoba. And number 7, I was researching the project while Ileana was preparing the photos. So when we look at these examples, we can see that there are two past actions, two ongoing actions that were happening in the past. So we have I can't find my cursor here. Here we go. I was washing. Tommy was drying. Mr. Jones was working outside. His children were inside watching a movie. My brother was working out. I was running in the park. Were you listening while she was speaking? What were you doing while your sister was studying? I am not sure, but I think she was living in Ontario while I was living in Manitoba. I was researching the project while Ileana was preparing the photos. Now, one thing you might notice here is that a very common word that we use when we are talking about two actions happening at the same time in the past is that often we will use the word while. So while, while, and so on. So that word while means when there's two things happening at the same time. So we're going to move on and let's go on to our use number 4. And now we've talked about when there are two actions happening at the same time in the past. Now we're going to talk about many, again, ongoing actions happening at the same time in the past. So I'm just going to make a note of that here. Bear with me for a moment. So we're going to talk about many ongoing actions happening at the same time in the past. I think that's a good distinction that we need to make. Okay, so many ongoing actions happening at the same time in the past. Okay, so here, let's read this. Let's read this together. When I left the house, Tommy was cleaning the front step. Elizabeth was watching a movie in her room, and Bobby was texting his friend. I think Greg and his friends were playing outside somewhere. So here we see many different subjects performing many different actions all at the same time in the past. Let's take a closer look and we'll read it once more as well. When I left the house, Tommy was cleaning the front step. Elizabeth was watching a movie in her room, and Bobby was texting his friend. I think Greg and his friends were playing outside somewhere. So when we look at this, we can see that, okay, Tommy was cleaning. Elizabeth was watching a movie. Bobby was texting. Greg and his friends were playing outside somewhere. So we can see here that there are many different subjects, many different actions, all happening at the same time in the past. And remember that these are all ongoing actions, right? They are actions that take a long time. So Tommy was cleaning the front step. That can take a long time. Watching a movie, right, can take a long time. Texting your friend can take a while as well. And Greg and his friends were playing outside. They were doing that for quite a while as well. So everyone, so that's just a short review of the past continuous. We talked about the formations. We talked about making a statement, a negative statement, a question. We also talked about the for uses as well. Now, if you have any questions, leave those in the comment section below this video, and I will answer that question for you. And look up for more links as well. I'll be making some links on this video, and I'll be doing a lot of dictation videos as well using the past continuous. And soon on my website, there will be quite a few exercises there as well. So in the meantime, everyone, I want to thank all of you for taking the time today to watch this video. Again, I really do appreciate it. And remember, leave your comments or questions in the comment section below this video. They are always very much appreciated. And if you like this video, please remember to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon in the next video. Take care now. Bye-bye.